Well, my little friends, it is time for our next story called Little Joe Chickapig, a story about following your dreams. So should we get started here? Chickapig, a noun, chickapig. Plural noun is chickapigs, an animal hybrid that is half chicken and half pig. Do you see him there? Look at him. He looks a little bit like a chickie and a little bit like a pig. And this is where our story begins. Little Joe Chickapig lived on a farm full of chickapigs and chickapig charm. For little Joe Chickapig, still just a boy, the farm full of chickapigs brought him no joy. Look at his sad little face over here. He dreamed of new places beyond the fields, sailing vast oceans with swords and with shields. Look at his sword and his shield right there. He hoped he'd find courage to follow his heart, but how could he do that? How could he start? Look at him thinking about that under the tree. The Chickapig farm was all that he knew, with its crops and its fields and its cows that pooed, and birds and bees and horses and goats. Why was he dreaming of castles and moats? Look at him. Oh, look at the sad little Chickapig there with his sword. You ever feel sad sometimes? Sometimes we get sad, huh? Look at here. Joe had an old grandpa, brave and bold, a Chickapig hero who broke the mold. Joe had an old grandpa, a sailor of seas, a Chickapig hero who lived so free. Look at here. There's this old Grandpa Chickapig. I see some sharks. Look at here. What is he adventuring with? What do we see? It's a sea monster and a cow on an island. But how did he go? How did he do it? How did he know to follow his heart against the tide? How did he do it? The young Chickapig cried. I'll tell you a tale, his mother said. I'll tell you a tale before I put you to bed. Grandpa back then, he was scared too. Grandpa back then did not know what to do. Grandpa had heard a story told of a great big bear who broke the mold. There's the great big bear. The bear was tired of striking fear in all who saw him, all who came near. The bear had learned quite a skill to heal the sick and those struck ill. Look at that big bear. A doctor he became, my son, to heal the wounds of everyone. And those who used to run away now stood before him every day. Look at all the little creatures watching what he's doing. Surprised, they're thinking, oh, look at that big bear. He's taking care of our friend the bird. Look at him. Is he being a nice bear? He sure is, huh? The bear saw patients one by one. Never again would anyone run. The bear became a friend, you see, to every creature beneath the trees. But how? How did he go? How did he do it? How did he know to follow his heart against the tide? How did he do it? The young Chickapig cried. You see that? The bear found courage from the strangest place. He'd heard of a mouse who went to space. Look at that mouse out in outer space. The mouse, she traveled to the moon and Mars. The mouse, she traveled amongst the stars. Her ship, it soared from Earth to space. But in that world, she found her place. But how? How did she go? How did she do it? How did she know to follow her heart against the tide? How did she do it? The young Chickapig cried. Do you see that mouse? Look, making new friends with crazy aliens. The mouse, she'd heard a story told of a fierce dragon, brave and bold. Look at that dragon, smoke coming out of its mouth and nose. The dragon was known across the land. She gave up her kingdom to join a band. She sang her songs, she strummed her guitar. Her music was heard both near and far. Look at the dragon's band. Everybody loves the music. Look at that. But how did she go? How did she do it? How did she know to follow her heart against the tide? How did she do it? The young Chickapig cried. There was a warrior from that land back before the dragon's band. He was a Chickapig just like you, filled with wonder and feeling blue. Tired of shields and swords to wield, he laid down his weapons and planted a field. See, look here, the Chickapig planting his field. And if you look over here, you can see his sword. Look at that. The Chickapig farm became all that he knew, with its crops and fields and cows that pooed, and birds and bees and horses and goats, and never a thought of castles or moats. Now, Joe, my child, I hope you will see, follow your dreams, whatever they be, and one day in the future, when you are old, your very own story just might be told. The end. And that's the story of little Joe Chickapig, a story about following your dreams. So we can see that there are all different kinds of things that we can be if we choose to do that. So what would you like to be someday? Would you like to be a singer in a band? Or would you like to plant a garden? Or would you like to be able to drive a truck? Or be a policeman? or ride on a fire truck? Would you like to be a doctor or something else? What would you like to be? The end.